Hello, welcome to the ebook review of Graduate School Admission Essays, a complete ebook, a complete guide. And this is an ebook. My name is Janan Sarwar. I'm a publisher and I'm a pharmacist in the United States. And on behalf of Global Bookshelves International, I'm here today to interview Dr. Emmanuel Obaseki about his new book. Dr. Emmanuel is described as a freelance healthcare writer, a website copywriter, a maestro of grad school essays, and he helps people write articles and write essays that resonate with his target audience. He has secured over $1.2 million in funding for individuals for grad school. He's an impressive person. I'm so glad to be here today. Dr. Emmanuel, welcome, and please tell
Thank
us a
you.
little bit
Thank
about yourself.
thank you, Janan. Okay, yes. So my name is Emmanuel, and around last year I started writing and reviewing, basically more of reviewing grad school essays for prospective graduate school students. Yes, so that was how it started. So and then gradually, over time, as soon as results began to roll in, many of them gained admission into their choice programs, and then apart from that, they also secured funding, varying degrees of funding. Some got fully funded scholarships, some got partial funded scholarships, yes, and some had to fund themselves. Yeah, so depending on the client needs, basically, and the students' capabilities per time. Yes, so but then over time, we've been able to amass over $1.2 million in funding, like I said, for many persons who are seeking masters and PhD programs in the US, in the UK, and Canada. Yes, so that has happened in less than 1 year, actually. Yes, and that is actually quite amazing. Yes, just like you stated. Yes, and then quickly, I'd just like to obviously welcome everybody who is joining us live. Yes, and then today's session is going to be straight to the point, and like I said, we're going to be dealing with specifics you can implement straightforward that will make your application stand out. So you're welcome. Yeah, so Jane, and that's it. Over to you.
Yes, thank you. The topic of this session is very relevant to the topic of your book. It is helping people write award-winning essays that get them to the programs. You have experience, you clearly have award-winning experience that helps others. So I'd like to understand a little bit more. In the past, when we did a launch for this book and you and I spoke, you
Yes.
told me about the power of storytelling. That's one of the
Yes.
key cornerstones to what you believe gets people into the graduate schools and
Yes.
scholarships.
Yes.
I'd love to
Absolutely.
hear more about that, what your pointers are, and what does storytelling mean in this context?
Okay, okay. Yeah, so when you turn in your essays, when you have your essay prompts, okay, and you're required to write your essays based on specific word count limits, maybe on 500 words, 1,000 words, depending, and you could have multiple essays as well for you to handle. Yeah, so the first thing you need to do is you need to take note of the essay prompts as given by the school. Okay, you don't want to write anything outside of what the school has given you. So it doesn't matter what your idea is, if you've written any essay before to any school, yes. What matters is that particular school, what are they asking you to write about? Yeah. So once you have that out of the way, so storytelling now comes in trying to present your essay in a way that makes your own application stand out. Okay. You want to ensure that while you're stating facts, you're doing so in a very appealing manner. You're doing it subtly, but then you're still making your statements, you're making your points clearly. Okay. And so for storytelling, talk about this a bit when you're writing on LinkedIn too as well. But outside of LinkedIn now, in terms of your essays, yes, you want to be able to properly craft your background, your experiences in university, in tertiary institution, okay, your background while growing up, okay, your research experience, okay. You want to be able to tell a story that follows sequentially, okay, that shows okay this person has a background, yeah, there's a track record of some sort, yes, from high school to your choice of course in university, your project work, your thesis, yes, and then eventually why do you want to study this graduate school program. Okay, so you need to be able to tell a story, okay, that can piece all of this together. It could be a childhood experience, it could be somebody you look up to, it could be about your mentor, okay, it could be about your family, okay, it could be about your supervisor from the university, okay, it could be about a cure, it could be about a show you watched while you were young, it could be about literally anything, okay, but the idea is to be able to tell the story in a very convincing and compelling enough manner that doesn't even look as if you're trying to sound so salesy, okay, but then you're trying to sell yourself and you want to ensure that the committee obviously buys into whatever it is that you're saying to them. Yeah, so obviously when it comes to storytelling, I believe obviously not everybody can tell a good story. Yes, you may need help brushing some parts, which is absolutely fine. But your story is unique to you, and only you can actually tell it the way you can. Yes, only you can tell your story. Yes, so that is where I sort of like come in, brush up your story. Let me just know your story, okay? Then I try to brush it up to ensure to pick the most important parts, okay, and then make it strong enough such that in your essays you're able to stand out. And then because obviously the admissions committee would have to go through tons of essays. So what is going to make you stand out? Okay, that is where your story, your personal story comes in. And then with that, we can review that and then ensure at the end of the day, it's something compelling enough that stands you out, your personal background, your experiences in the university, from high school, leadership positions, everything comes together. So it's not just a one size fits all. Yeah, it's unique to you. It's your story. That's why it's called storytelling. This time you're telling your own story. Nobody else has lived your experience. It's just you. Okay, so that's where this comes in, and that's why I emphasize on storytelling. And then remember in the last session, I mentioned one of our success stories. Okay, his name is Success. He has moved now to Boston, Massachusetts. Okay, and he resumed his PhD program in chemical engineering. One thing that made this application stand out that we were able to do was he had an uncle, yes, who has a PhD, though they were not so close, and then he did not bother to emphasize on it previously in his applications. But this time around, when you told me about it, I was like, no, this should be a core part of your story. Yes, it should be a core part of your story. And he was able to do that. And at the end of the day, he got not just one, not just two, he got three fully funded PhD scholarships, and he had to choose one. With just his BSc, he hasn't done his masters yet. With just his BSc, and he had to choose one at the end of the day, and that's literally amazing on all sides. So that's how storytelling can come in and make your application stand out.
Beautifully said. And I love the example that you shared. Again, as I see more people coming into the live, we thank you for joining us. And if you missed the beginning, this is the book review for an ebook that Emmanuel wrote. And, the target of this, which is really important to note, who is listening, if you're a recent grad from college or university, you're trying to round out your studies, you're thinking, I want to go abroad, I want to get into a program for graduate school. And you listen to what Emmanuel just said about having a compelling story. This is how you can answer a personal statement, which is typically a question you'll get at any place that you apply, whether it's for a scholarship, whether it's to secure any kind of funding or to even apply. You need to be able to tell your story. As Dr. Emmanuel just shared, it's so important to be able to know what your personal ideas are, to know what makes you unique, what makes you stand out. And if you have a
True.
need for help, using his ebook will help. And then there's also other services, other people like Dr. Emmanuel himself, who can really help you craft it. Because if you think about it, where everyone can have really compelling things to say, but you have to
True.
keep thinking, right? And align it. And I think that's one of the things I wanted to ask you, Dr. Emmanuel,
Yes.
to expand. If someone's listening here and they're saying, I didn't even think about it, they're either people saying, I don't know if I want to go, but now after hearing about all this, maybe it's not as hard because I have a story. But are there particular types of stories depending on what kind of program you're trying to apply to? Or can you kind of give us the steps of what you like to tell people to think about when they're trying to apply to a program abroad or anywhere?
Okay. Okay, yes. So I have a list of questions. Yes, I call it
Yes,
like a checklist.
sure.
Okay, I call it like a checklist. Yeah. So when I get reached out to, and then I want to craft your essay. It's your story. It's your essay, right? So I have a list of questions I forward across, and one of the questions basically is, tell me like three persons who are like your motivators for the life you currently lead. Okay, that's like one of the questions I would ask you. Okay, I would ask you to tell me about your leadership or volunteer positions. Okay, what did you achieve in those positions? I also like to know also your academic background. Okay, what was your CGPA in the university? Okay, now, the whole point of asking this question is not just because I want to know everything about. Okay, definitely, I want to know everything about you as relates to your story. Yes. So
Yes,
when I access all of this, okay, I try to synthesize it, basically almost like lab work. Yes. So I try to synthesize it. Okay, how do we fit all of this into your story?
right,
Obviously, we may not fix it all into your story. We may need to let some parts stay and push out the strong points. We want to showcase your strengths. Okay, your thesis. What was it about? What was your thesis? Was it published in a reputable journal? That's a huge point. Okay, that's a huge point. What was the topic? Who was your supervisor? Was it published? Okay, what are some of the core courses you did in the university? Okay, what are the core courses you did? Now, with all of this, okay, I can now begin to see, okay, this person has an excellent CGPA, for example. Okay, this person's thesis is even in line with a prospective supervisor in the program they're applying to. Okay, that's how
yes,
I get to know all of this. And then with that, you know the right lecturer, the right professor to reach out to. Okay, when you're applying, so you don't just reach out randomly to everybody. No, you don't do that. So
right,
it's somebody who has the closest link to what you've already done, and okay, you can then reach out because you already have a common ground for you to reach out to them. So with all of this and some other questions I also ask, I'm able to pin it together, able to add it up together, able to, okay, this part doesn't portray you in a good light. Let's grab this out. Okay, this part, it's a very important point. This has to be there. So we would add that. So that's how we go through that. So almost like a step-by-step sieving process. But first, I want to know all about you. Tell me about yourself. Okay. And then sometimes too I ask some prospective students to send voice notes. So persons are more comfortable sending voice notes than actually having to type and all of that. Yeah. So when they send voice notes, they are also more expressive. Okay, they are able to tell me specific details that they may have not been able to tell me while writing. Yeah. So with the voice notes, I'm able to listen, okay, and say, oh, this is a very important point. Let's make use of this. Oh, okay, this person portrays more on this angle. Perfect. Let's add this up. So that's how it works basically. So with all of these questions, I get to know more about you because obviously some of the clients, some of the persons I've worked with, I literally don't know them from anywhere. They just reached out to me. Yes, so I have to get to know them. And then I've been fortunate enough to work with maybe a few persons I know a thing or two about. Yes, and like my friend who just moved to Atlanta. Yes, but not everybody I know everything about them. Yeah, so we have to get to meet you, get to know more about you, and use your own information. Like I said, it's your story. It's not my story. Okay, so I would not just craft a story from thin air or just write something random. No, it has to be your story, and we have to be truthful and sincere as well. Yes, we don't want to start putting boogie facts and start boggling things up and like, okay, things that don't actually add up, that are not actually true. You don't want to have that in your application. You want to be truthful, you want to be sincere, and you also don't want to exaggerate, okay, exaggerate your experiences. You want to state it as it is, but obviously in a compelling manner, which is the entire point. That's what storytelling is built about. You're able to tell your story in a compelling manner that convinces them that, okay, this person is worthy of not just the admission, worthy of the funding as well. And when they come over to the university, they are going to be a plus to this institution. Yes, you want to be a plus to the institution, you want to be able to contribute to the work that is already ongoing there. Okay. If you're not going to do that, then why are you even bothering coming around in the first instance? Yes, so this is why I have to ask you these questions, and then we walk through it and then eventually craft the perfect essay that will make you stand out. So that's how it all comes together, Jane.
Yes, yes. I loved what you said. You're sharing about how, in the context of your guide that you've given and what you're sharing, practical tips here today about how to, in the context of the specific place you're applying, knowing what stories to tell, who to write it to, or to whom you're writing it to, how to be authentic, and then how to,
Yes,
once you've written it, or if you're trying to secure funding, how to convince someone else that you are an asset to them, right?
true,
All of that is
true.
going to make you more likely when you apply to get accepted. Because otherwise, why would they select you? You have to really,
Why?
I mean, I want to say it's almost it's a lot of pitching yourself, right? I mean, the way you're saying it is
Exactly.
storytelling, but it's a storytelling crafted in a way that's sincere and authentic. And that's the most important part. That's
Yes.
really beautiful. I'm going to ask you something. I don't know if you're prepared to answer, but I loved how you said
Okay.
that you ask your clients to tell three people that influenced their life to date. Do you mind sharing one of your people? If you were to write an essay, who would you choose?
Okay. Okay, okay, yeah. Yeah, obviously loads of individuals who have influenced me. Okay, my academic journey, my personal journey, my professional journey, in my life too as well. Okay, but if I am to probably just pick one person, okay, I would reference a family friend of ours, okay, who works with the Central Bank of Nigeria. Is currently retired, but was an assistant director. Okay, if I want to talk about one person, I have to talk about him, not
Okay.
just because of the role he played, because it was more or less like a reference. Okay, I saw him. I grew up seeing him succeed, seeing him also not just succeed. His wife too was doing well. They had a school, and then their kids also were doing well, and literally all of them, about four of them, schooled abroad. Yeah, so growing up, seeing him do all of that for his family was beautiful to see. Yes, and not just that, he also heavily influenced my own academic life too, as well, my own career too, as well. In my first year in university, he literally paid for my school fees. Yes, he paid for
Oh,
my school fees. Yes, we visited. I visited him alongside my dad, and then he was very excited that I gained admission to study pharmacy. And then he was like, "You did very well," and he was happy with my score, and I gained admission. And then he said, "No, I'm going to contribute to your success." And then he paid my fees. And even when I was doing my project in my final year, he also sent some money as well to contribute to my project, support me, and which made my project seamless. Like I literally had almost zero stress. Yes, so if I'm to write my own essay, obviously, yeah, he's going to be somebody that I would most definitely have to reference. Yes, he's that one person I would definitely have to reference. Obviously, like I said, I've had academic tutors from elementary school to high school to university who have done a lot. My parents, yeah, family. But if there's one person, I have to reference him. Yes,
good, good. Yes, I didn't want to make you a list too many because, I have to be on the list too. Just kidding, just kidding. I'm kidding. But no, I already hear and see
yes,
the story unfold, what you were saying. And I can even see how, depending on if you were to apply somewhere, how you could tailor that, even the story that you shared, to
true, true.
multiple places, depending on what you're trying to do. So that's the power of storytelling that I hear.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely it is. Absolutely it is.
But speaking about multiple places and applying a lot of places, I think you've told me before that people have to have persistence sometimes when it comes to getting into graduate schools.
True,
So tell me
true.
more about your thought about that, the
Okay,
idea of being
okay.
persistent and the power of that.
Okay, okay. So this is it. When you're choosing to apply to a school, many things go into play. Many things come into play. Some factors are within your control. Your essays, your academic CV, those who write your references. Okay, but then tons of persons are also applying to that same institution who probably have better grades than you, who probably have better experiences than you, okay, and who maybe for one reason or the other are just simply preferred to you. And it has nothing to do with you. Yes, it has absolutely nothing to do with you. It's not your fault. Yes, and so if you are depending on just one application to ace it, it may not just work that way. Okay, it may not just work that way. So that's why I encourage persons when you're turning in your applications, it's best you apply to multiple schools. Okay, that gives you an opportunity amidst every other person as well, and also increases your chances. It's almost more or less like a game of numbers. Okay, while you're good, while your background is good, while your experiences are solid, okay, you may not just be the preferred candidate for that school. Okay, so when you now apply to multiple schools, you increase your chances, okay, of getting funding, of getting admission, and getting the funding that you require either for your master's or PhD programs. I've known persons who applied to just one school and got in. Okay, some people applied to just two schools and got in. Okay, a friend of mine who applied to just Harvard and Oxford, and he got into both for his master's program. Yes,
Wow.
amazingly, he has an amazing track record, obviously, from his
Sure.
undergraduate, yes, to professional experience. But for some others, like one of my clients, he applied a year ago, 2 years ago, yeah, against last year, but he did not get into any. Okay, but after we reviewed his essays, I saw where we could make his story better, and then he
Yes.
applied, and then he got into. And then another one that I shared on LinkedIn last Saturday is currently in Atlanta. Okay, his story was not smooth. That's the truth. Some persons don't want to hear that, but I'll be truthful with you. I'm not telling you that once we review your essay, I'm going to send your application to a school. That's it. It's all done. No, it doesn't work that way. Okay, it doesn't. It absolutely doesn't work that way. So I have to be truthful to you. Okay, I have to be truthful to you. So you have to open your mind to know you need to apply. You may need to apply to multiple schools, and that is fine. That's fine. Okay, I had this YouTube live session a while back last month where we talked about mental breaking mental barriers. Okay, and we had
Yes.
to highlight some truths about the application process, and that it's actually normal for you to not get in when
Yes.
you apply, because there are many other persons applying alongside you. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's you getting is actually a miracle, whether you like it or not. Yes, it's more or less a
True.
miracle, and
I
getting the
agree.
funding, whether you like it or not. Yes,
Yes.
and that is where a part of, okay, alongside the book that contains how to craft your essays with samples for MBA, personal statements, okay, scholarship essays. I also gave a couple of bonuses. Okay, one of the bonuses was a cold email template. Okay, a cold email template that you could craft and then suit to your own story, okay, and send to a prospective supervisor. Now, cold emails are a game changer for your applications, and that's the truth. Okay, some persons don't even know this. Some person just apply and just go back and sit back and relax and then expect. No, you have to follow up. You have to send emails. Not just reach out to the school, to the supervisor. You also need to reach out to other graduate school students in the university, okay, in the department you're applying to, and get to find out from them, how does this work? What can I do to make my application stand out? Okay, what can I tweak? And then, like I specifically mentioned, one other student I mean, he got into Chicago Boat for his MBA program. Okay, that's like the top ranked MBA program in the world. Yes, which is literally amazing. And I've not even shared that yet. Okay, but initially was placed on the wait list.
Yes.
Yes, initially that what happened. He was placed on the wait list and he did not get in. Okay, but what was the game changer was he was able to send emails. He reached out multiple times. Okay, he was able to get feedback from grad students. He was able to, and when he was put on wait list, he had the opportunity of working on his essays and his CV, his academic CV, which he did, and then eventually he got in, and he got in with funding to Chicago Boat for his MBA program. He got him with
Wow.
funding. He has 50% funding. Yes. So, and that shows how being persistent. But imagine you had just given up and said, okay, that was the end. I'm on the wait list. Oh, it's all over. There's nothing left for me. And that will be the end. Same thing also with the story I shared last Saturday on LinkedIn. By the way, you can follow me on LinkedIn at Emmanuel Obaseki. Family. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
yes. So what he basically did for himself, he applied to multiple schools. He applied to multiple schools, and there's nothing wrong in doing that. Nobody stops you from applying to multiple schools, to varying programs. And he also sent email follow-ups to the prospective supervisors. Yes, sentinel follow-ups, and eventually he got in with full funding for his master's program.
Wow.
Yes, got in with full funding for his master's program. So persistence is very important. You can't rule this out in your applications. Like I said, it has nothing to do with you. You don't have to take many persons apply and then get loads of rejection and they feel okay, this is the end, I'm not applying anymore. No, it's not your fault. Okay, don't take it personally. Don't take success personally. Don't take failures also personally. It's not your fault. Okay, it's just the way it is. There are many other persons who are applying alongside you. You are applying for limited spaces. For example, Chevening scholarships. It's ongoing now. Many persons are turning in their applications. Okay, at the end of the day, not everybody can actually get in. Almost like 1%, 2% of total applicants actually get the scholarship. Okay, so why would you now feel like you are entitled to getting it, and then when you don't get it, like, oh no, I have to give up? No, you don't just apply to that and just fold your arms and watch. You have to try other possible schools, other possible routes. Okay, and like I said, cold emails are a game changer. So if you get the book, if you order for my ebook, you would also still today, yes, you will get both the code email template that comes as a bonus and also another essay that's not part of the book that got one of the students full funding. Yes, about over $100,000. Yes, funding. So that is also part of it. But like I said, persistence. Your mindset is very important. You have to realize, expect rejections, expect it. Okay, it's absolutely fine. It has nothing to do with you. It's not your fault. Expect it, but would that make you stop? No, it shouldn't make you stop. Rather, it should make you go back. Okay, what can I do to make it better? Which other school can I apply to that would increase my chances? Which school has a better acceptance rate, for example? Okay, which school has a better acceptance rate for my choice program? Okay, and then how can I further make my essays, my entire application stand out? So these are some of the factors that come into play, and this is why persistence is very important. Yes, Jane.
Absolutely. First, just to tell everyone who's listening, you dropped a lot of great pearls here, diamonds, gold, whatever you like, whatever gem or precious stone or anything that you like.
Okay.
Number one thing I want to reiterate is Emmanuel does this all the time on LinkedIn. He referenced follow him. Emmanuel Obaseki, maybe we can put your name back on the screen if
Okay.
people don't follow you. You're always sharing.
Okay. Yes.
I enjoy reading, and it reminds me too. I mean, this is, yes, it's about graduate school essays, but it's for anything. Mindset
Sure.
and expecting rejections. If you set yourself up that way, expect rejections. That's my favorite phrase you used just now. Yes, the power of persistence, but if you set yourself up saying, okay, it's 1 in a million right now if I get this, but I'm trying my best, my absolute best.
Yes.
And
Yes.
when you don't, then it's the next time. If you do fail's a relative word, but if you do not get your goal, you don't achieve your goal, you're saying, don't let it stop you. Let it allow you to think, I need to refine what I did, refine it,
True.
and try again.
True. True.
So I know you're based in Nigeria. I'm going to ask you about a phrase, and I'm wondering if they have this phrase where you are. Here we
Okay.
say, don't put all of your eggs in one basket. Have you heard this before?
Yes.
Is there
Definitely, I
is there
have.
actually is there a phrase in your language that you can share that's similar to this, or you have this exact phrase as well?
No, no, the same exact phrase. You don't put all your eggs in one basket. Like we grew up hearing
Yes,
it. Everybody literally grew up hearing it. Apprentice, you drum it into our ears in school.
yes,
Teachers to drum it into our ears. So you don't have to put all your eggs in one basket. So that's basically what that's just basically what I've shared about. Okay, you don't have
yes.
to just say I'm applying to this one school and I must get in. Why should you get in it? You are not entitled to getting in. Okay, okay. Maybe if your father has an endowment for the school, maybe you deserve to get in. But otherwise, I don't think so. I don't
No,
think so. Okay, and if you want to get in funding too as well, obviously you're not entitled to it. Okay, that's just the truth. You're not entitled to it. It's not something that's your right. Okay, so that's why you must not, like, it's even a must. You shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket. You may try once and get in, and that's fine too as well. Okay, but you may also try once with even the best possible of applications, and you may not get in. So that's why you have to strike a balance. Okay, ensure you have alternatives. Okay, have that buffer also. My friend used to talk about this often. Okay, have a buffer. Okay, have a buffer in place. Okay, I this application is the best possible I can do. Yes,
Yes.
but I know still that I may not get it for now. Okay, someone shared a post about that, and then just adding for now, it's totally it totally changes it. Okay, I may not get in for now, and that is fine. Okay, that's absolutely fine. So try, have options. Okay, best to live a life of options, and then it's better you have 3 to 5 schools giving you admissions, and then you now get to choose which I
Yes.
want to go to,
Yeah.
than applying to just one and not getting in. So, and then you're left with nothing. But if you apply to multiple schools and then you get into, then you can then choose. Okay, I want this. I don't want this. I want this. Just like his name is Success. He got 3 fully funded
Yes. Yeah.
scholarships for his PhD programs, and he chose one of them. Yes, so it's better. It's better to have choices. Yes, it's better. It's better. It's just better. Yes.
Yes. A phrase also that comes to mind based on what you just said is expect the worst, hope for the best. And yes, you can be like the colleague you shared. They got all three options and you get to choose. And also, when you were saying, having a buffer school, people talk about that all the time. The power that each of you have listening to this live is you can even choose, okay, I got accepted to the one that I didn't want. It was my buffer school or it was my least choice. You can choose to not go, right? I mean, that's the power that you
Exactly.
have. Don't let this process control you. You are in control.
True.
And persistence pays off, right?
It
Continuous
does.
practice. It's almost like practice too. Practice makes you have get closer to perfection every time
Yeah.
because you don't know exactly,
Definitely.
as you said, there's a lot of confounding factors. Maybe at that time you're applying somewhere, maybe there are a lot of competitors that they were just an inch better than you, or a hair better than
Yes.
you. And that was the reason, not have anything to do with your power, your capabilities, or anything like that. So I love this. It's a very empowering talk. I have so many other questions, but I wanted to know if are we getting any questions from the audience? If anyone has any questions, please feel
Okay.
free to ask. And then also, are there any other things that you really wanted to convey here on our
Okay.
talk today about your book review?
Yes, okay. We mentioned okay the fact also that you may need to take some exams, okay, some standardized tests.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
that you may need to take as well to support your application. There is the GRE, there's the IELTS, okay, the TOEFL, and then even GMAT, okay, depending on the program you're applying for and the school, okay, you're applying to. Okay, so some schools, especially since the pandemic, many schools are actually waiving the GREs. Okay,
Okay.
some more schools too are also allowing you also to not have to write the IELTS or the TOEFL, and you could
Yeah.
use your nation's your English certification from high school. Okay, as your proof, obviously, that you could speak English. Okay, for some schools they require you to have a proof of English, so you could use that as well. Okay, but then it's better, same, still the same thing. It's better to need it and have it, okay, than to need it and not have it. So if
Yes.
you can't take the exams, nothing is stopping you from taking them still. Okay, it may cost a lot more. It may require you to obviously read afresh, as the person don't want to go back to your books. But if you're getting into grad school, you're going to have loads of readings to do, loads of assignment, loads of research to do. So you might as well take it as okay, I'm simply preparing for grad school. Okay, that also will change your mindset. I'm preparing for what I will meet in grad school, and that's why I want to take this exam. Okay, so there's GRE, okay, graduate record examinations. So you can take that, and then usually for MBA applications, okay, mainly for MBAs. So, and then also, if you're applying to the sciences too as well, they also need you to show, okay, that you're good with it. It has quantitative, the verbal section, okay, and the analytical and the writing section too as well. So basically, just wanted to show that you have a graph of this, okay. So you could prepare for the exams, register, take the exams, and then get score well. By scoring high in those exams as well, it also gives you an edge. And having
Right.
an edge, it's good. It's good to have an edge. It's absolutely good to have an edge. Yes, it's great to have an edge. That could be what will make you stand out. Just like Janan said, if you have any question, you can drop them in the comments, and then we will review them. But basically, taking these exams is a plus. It's a
Yes.
plus for you. It's a plus for you. It could be what would even make you stand out, okay, from others, because you're like, okay, imagine it, okay, we're actually waving it, okay, but you have it, right? You have it, so you should definitely put it forward. You have
Yeah.
it, so you should put it forward. But even though it's being waved, or you said it's not compulsory, but you already have it, and that could be what will make you stand out. Yes, so if you can, the advice always is that take these exams, okay? Take these standardized tests. They may be a bit expensive, require you to do a bit of more reading, but if you can, best to have it and not need it than to need it and then you don't have it.
I have a question. If you have bad scores on something and it's optional, will they know? Will they be able to see it? Does this depend? Do you advise not including a bad score if it's optional during this
Okay.
time?
Yes, if it's yes, if
Yeah.
so yes, so for some persons obviously maybe they feel okay, their scholarship may not just be so bad, okay.
Yeah.
And then if it's obviously not required, then it's fine. You may not have to put it. Okay,
Okay.
but if your application is still upcoming, what's stopping you from trying again? I
Uh,
know of someone who took yes, but I know someone who wrote the GRE twice. She actually had a great score the first time, yes, good enough score. I think she scored around 325 thereabout. But she decided to take it again. She felt she could score better, and she did, and then she scored better. Okay, and so that also comes into play. Like I said, it's not success is not a given. Okay, failure as well is not a given. Both happens if you live long enough, you're either going to fail or you're either going to succeed. Yes,
yeah.
if you try long enough, you're either going to fail or succeed. So those
Yes.
who are not, so you have to be confident. You have to be not confident. You have to be comfortable with either of them. Okay, expect either of them. So it's fine if you don't score so well. If it's being waived, then fine. You can you may not have to put your score forward. But if you still have time and you can try it again, get more resources, maybe attend tutorials, watch more videos online, practice more, and then you take it, and then you absolutely smash the exam. Why not show? You have to show off. Yes, you have to show your strength. That's like one of the emphasis to when you're crafting the application I talked about, the power of storytelling, right? You have to put your best foot forward. Okay, so any semblance of that could be an advantage for you, you have to put it out there. You just have to put it out there. There's no point holding it back to yourself. You should put it out there. So that's what I'm going to advise anybody who feels who has anything to say about that. Yes.
Yes, I'm going to share a quick story. Years ago, I was involved in the admissions of for pharmacy school at a university. Just in the process, I helped interview candidates, and I would say that an underdog story or someone who kind of went from one place to another, that's really inspiring compared to someone who was perfect. So for example, your point you just made
True.
about someone who did maybe not do well the first time they took an exam, but then they put all this effort and they were persistent and they tried really hard and they, you know, got so many points higher the second time. That could be the story. That could be somebody
True.
listening story that shows
True.
such dedication. That itself is a story of persistence, dedication,
Absolutely,
and,
absolutely.
you know, compared to someone thinking, okay, well, this person had all the tutoring and they had all of that, so it's expected. Really being that underdog and then making it, I think that's inspiring too. But also, I'm not encouraging you all to fail and then do better the second time. But if that's your story, there are ways to turn it around. It's just to give hope. So
Yes,
yeah,
yes, 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 absolutely. Like just in line with what you just said, okay, there have been a couple of more persons who may be in their first year, okay, in university, probably had issues settling,
yes,
adjusting to the environment, okay, and they may not have done so well. Maybe they did not even have a very good grade, right, in their first
yes,
year. They did not have good grade, didn't have good grades in their first year, but second year, maybe they started to come up, third year, then by the time you're rounding up your program, they were out there with the very best. Okay. And
yeah,
that's absolutely fine, like I said. So that also is something that obviously you can also include in your essays. That shows it shows a progression. Okay. It shows a progression and it's an upward trajectory. So you definitely have to put that in your essays. Yes, to show that okay, you have a track record. Yeah,
yes,
that's one thing I will emphasize upon too as well. A track record from high school to university, even post graduation. Now that you're done, pending when you turn in your applications, what courses are you taking? Okay, are you taking courses and programs in line with what you want to study?
right,
Okay, if you want to get into grad school, okay, what's the proof that you are really interested? What is the proof that when you do get in, you'll be ready for the environment you'll be introduced to? Okay, what courses are you taking at the moment? What classes are you taking at the moment? Okay, what steps, what moves are you taking? Do you have are you gaining better research experience? Are you working in a research facility at the moment? Okay, are you taking out time to just volunteer? Okay, what stops you from volunteering? Are you taking out time to just volunteer with a lab? Okay, a research group, get involved with this project, get involved with that project. Okay, so this part of it. Okay, and then the other thing obviously still is I mean, don't wait, just about storytelling. I did not mention this earlier on. It's about the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. Okay, how can you link your volunteering work to any of these 17 SDGs? There are 17 of them. Okay, so if you're able to do this as well, that also shows you're not just thinking locally, you're thinking globally. You have a
yes,
global perspective, and then
yes,
you're solving what problems. Yes, you're not just thinking about just yourself and all of that. Persons want to see persons who are not. Schools want to see candidates who are not selfish. Okay, who are
yes,
who are actually passionate about solving global problems. Okay, so if you're able to do this and then craft it into your essay, it's a plus. It's an absolute
yes.
plus for you. Yes, so that's where all of this comes into play too as well. Okay.
Yes, it's very inspiring. And I see this applying, of course, we're talking right now about graduate schools, but this is about anything. You're really, it's an inspirational talk because it's about going towards a dream, having a focus, being persistent, being able to make your story make sense, right? And this is also just reflecting on your life. We all have to be really introspective here when we're trying to think, where are we on our life's journey? Where are we trying to go?
True.
And how do we make
True.
it make sense? Sometimes some people may not, it may seem disjointed, but as long as you can explain why, maybe someone's volunteering in something that seems unrelated, but everyone has a why. If you can explain that, that's part of that storytelling aspect. So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. It is. Absolutely. It is. It is.
yeah.
It is.
This was great. This is such a wonderful talk. Any questions or any other things you wanted to share today?
Okay. Okay, so if there are no questions, okay, yeah. So about the book, okay. So basically,
Yes.
I just thought about it, and I'm like, okay, fine. For persons who are who are who are live with us, okay, yeah. So like the ebook basically talks about it's a step it gives a step-by-step guideline, okay,
Yes.
irrespective of the stage you're in crafting your applications, okay, it can it can still fit in, okay, right from when you're selecting your schools and then you're thinking about how can I make my essays stand out, okay, If it's an MBSA, applying for a Masters of Business Administration program. If it's an MSc, it's an MA. If it's a PhD, okay. So the essays the book gives you a step-by-step guideline, okay, on how you can proceed to craft yours, even paragraph by paragraph guideline, and how you can actually
Yes.
craft yours. And not just that, there are four samples in the book that are included intentionally, okay? And in one of them, I explained also paragraph by paragraph why exactly are we putting this information there? Why is this here? And that essay, like I said, is one that actually got yeah, one of the students I worked with is three fully funded PhD programs, yes. And then the other one that's comes in as a bonus got the scholarship is worth over $100,000, okay, for a 23 months long program. So all of these are in the book. They're not just that, also there is also the cold email template, which, like I said, is a total game changer. Okay, so if you're here live with us, okay, for today, you okay, I'll do 50% off, okay, within the next within the next 48 hours, okay, you can reach out to me personally. So maybe what I'll just do is I'll just okay, I'll just type in my I will just type in my uh okay, so my name obviously on LinkedIn. So you can reach out to me on LinkedIn personally. Okay, you don't have to go through Solar. If you go through Solar, you have to pay the full amount. So you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. Okay, and say you want to get your Emmanuel Obaseki comma family. Okay, and then you want to get yours. So I guess Janan, so that's basically it. So if you want to get a book today, you get 50% off still. You just send me a message, Malobaseki, tell me you're on this live, and then so within the next 48 hours, I guess that would cover it. So Janan, so that's all from my end. So thank you
Yeah.
so much.
No,
Yes.
thank you. This was so wonderful. I will just summarize what my highlights and favorite parts of our conversation were. We focused on the power of storytelling, the power of persistence, the power of having an open mindset, expecting rejections, but not letting a rejection stop you. We talked about not having your eggs in one basket. We talked about how it's important to follow you on LinkedIn. Your name is on the screen. Everybody follow. And we talked about the special offer that you're giving right now, especially to those who are tuning in to this live and sharing. And you can send a direct message to Dr. Emmanuel Obaseki, and he will give you the deals he just mentioned. It was a pleasure. I think that, again, as I said, we're talking about graduate school essays, but it's a lot more than that. There are other ways you can apply what you shared to any
True.
aspect of your life. You're applying to anything. Right now, I'm
True.
applying, my dream is to be the best publisher in the world. And
Absolutely.
I'm I'm facing rejections and failures, but I think if I listen to what you just shared, I will succeed one day. And I just
You're
appreciate
way,
you.
you're way too kind. You're way too kind, Jada.
I appreciate you. It's been a pleasure
Thank you.
always to speak with you, to work with you, and I can't wait for your next book. By the way, that I hope you will consider Global Bookshelves International. But again, thank you for your time and for this conversation and doing a review on your book.
Yes, I like to thank everybody as well that joined us live. Thank you so much. You guys are the superheroes.
Yes,
We are here because of you, actually. So thank you
yes,
so much to everybody who joined in live. Thank you so much.
yes.
All right,
Wonderful.
all right.
All
Yeah,
right.
bye, Jana.
Thank
Yeah,
you again. We can sign off.
yeah, yes, we can.